Exterior Home Solutions fast break as Tennessee advances into the semifinals of the Maui Invitational with a 73-56 win over Syracuse with Rob Lewis. I'm Brent Hubbs. Rob, it wasn't a thing of beauty the whole time, but it was gritty, kind of probably what the head basketball coach deep down likes to see out of his basketball team early in the year, just finding a way.
Yeah, I thought there was quite a bit to like from Tennessee, especially the way they closed the first half, the way they opened the second half. Um, it's kind of sloppy, at least offensively, to start the first 10 minutes, and they got hot. Led by 5 at the break, and really quickly pushed it out to 11 before the first TV timeout in the second half, and felt like they had all the momentum. And I'll give Syracuse credit. I mean, at that point, it really felt like Tennessee was going to pull away, but they didn't. Syracuse cut it down to 3, and there was some drama in the last 10 minutes, and I give Tennessee some credit. I know we're going to talk about Connect, but I mean, I thought that was big what we saw from Tennessee. After he cramped up.
Yeah, and obviously Dalton Connect's going to get his points. I think we've seen that through 4 games, right? He's going to score for Tennessee. The question's going to be who can pick up the slack for him if he's in foul trouble or like he had tonight with the cramps. It was an old hat tonight and Josiah Jordan James, and then they got really good post play out of Jonas Adu. I think that's the biggest takeaway from me, Rob, is the double double from Adu is big because Tennessee's going to have a post presence offensively throughout this basketball season if they're going to make a run, right?
Yeah, and nobody can give them what Jonas can. I mean, I don't mean to say that he's the best player or the most valuable, but he may be the most irreplaceable because Tobe is a rebounding machine, but he doesn't bring the same kind of length, the same kind of rim protection that Jonas does. I mean, Tobe's not going to sky up and catch one of those teardrop alley oops like Zakai threw him tonight in the second half that he probably had to reach up to 12 feet to grab. I mean, Tennessee just doesn't have anybody like him, and for him to go 12 and 11 tonight, thought it was huge. Because again, just nobody that is his equivalent. I mean, JP Estrella might be someday, but he is not close to that right now. Whereas, you see, as good as Dalton is, Tennessee has other guys who can give you that offense, who can give you some of the things that he gives you, like you saw tonight with Josiah. I thought he was fantastic with 15 points and 12 rebounds. But to me, there were two. The most impressive thing about Tennessee in the first half was Dalton Connect and 15 points. The most impressive thing to me in the second half was what Tennessee did in that 8 minutes when he went out. He went out with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left. Tennessee's ahead by 3 points, 42-39. He sits for the next 8 minutes, comes back. Tennessee's up 7. And the crazy thing is, however, Tennessee scored 21 points while he was on the bench. They got 14 of them from Jonas and Jemai. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Just scoring from different places. It feels to me like maybe the happiest guy to have Dalton Connect here is Josiah Jordan James. It feels like there's some pressure alleviated from him, and he's kind of playing a little bit more of the game that maybe he's most comfortable with because he doesn't feel like he has to be the guy to go get Tennessee a bucket. The offense seems to be coming a little bit freer to him. Is that fair or not fair?
Oh, I think it's very fair. I think it's fair for both guys. I think they really help each other out. I mean, they're similar, players physically, in terms of build, but they have different skill sets. Obviously Dalton more of a shooter, scorer, interchangeable as far who they can guard, you can switch on and switch out with him, and can do a lot of the same things. I mean, I think they're really good for each other. And kind of on those same lines, I think Santi is having to make the biggest adjustment of anybody on the team because of Connect. And I'm not saying that that's why he's kind of struggling shooting right now, but I think as far as a guy who is, I think Connect has impacted Santi and kind of how he plays, where his shots come from more than anybody. And I think you're still seeing Santi figure that out.
Yeah, but to Santi's credit, big assist late to Jonas with a ball fake, took care of the basketball. Zakai made a couple of plays. Even though those guys didn't play great down the stretch when it was time to put the game away, both those guys were key to doing that. Big win for Tennessee. Big test coming up. This is a great tournament field, Rob. This is a great week and a half of basketball for Tennessee to figure out kind of where they are and where they need to go from here. But it's important to get that first one out there. This was a nice win for Tennessee. Syracuse may not be a great basketball team, but at the end of the day, this was a solid win. Defensively, you were pretty good most of the game. This was a nice way to start things in Hawaii for this next couple of days here.
Absolutely. And you want to stay in the winner's bracket in this tournament. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, it keeps you in prime time. It keeps more eyeballs on your program. and it keeps you from, eventually having to play maybe Chaminade in that seventh, eighth place game, which is nobody wants to do. But yeah, I mean, I just think a really good win. Syracuse, a name opponent, pedigree, and my biggest takeaway: what Tennessee got done in that 8 minute stretch in crunch time when Connect was on the bench. I mean, they found a way.
Yep, found a way, and a mature basketball team showing up with some maturity, as we've seen all year long now. Tennessee been good closing out games in the second half, even with a lot of different moving parts, going all the way back to that exhibition game against Michigan State earlier in the year. We got full coverage from Maui. We have full coverage of the full tournament, plenty of stuff from Rob and Grant, but that's going to do it for this edition of the Fast Break, presented by our good friends at Exterior Home Solutions.
Your roof, it's the most important protection against nature for your home or your business. That's why I trust the experts at Exterior Home Solutions.